Hello and welcome to the Bridgewater-Raritan Council of School Associations Candidates Night for the Board of Education. I'm Kate Delmonico.
And I'm Kelly Shu.
This year we have 7 candidates seeking election for the 3 open positions for Bridgewater-Raritan Board of Education.
The candidates are Hirol Desai, Fabiola Polino, Stacy Friedlander, AJ Joshi, Jennifer Loughran, Kimberly Lucci, and Dick Myers.
The format for tonight's forum will be as follows. Each candidate will be given 2 minutes for an opening statement, which may include personal and professional background reasons for seeking election and what the candidates feel their role will be on the board. Following the opening statements, the candidates will answer 3 questions. Each candidate will be given up to 3 minutes to answer each question. Following the 3 questions, each candidate will be given 2 minutes to give a closing statement. In the interest of time, Kelly and I will request that the time limits be adhered to throughout the evening. We will hold our hands up when each candidate has 30 seconds remaining, so please try to complete the statements when you see one of our hands. Let's go to the opening statements, beginning with Ms. Desai.
Thank you, ladies. I'd like to start before I introduce myself by thanking everybody on the staff here. For those of you who are watching us online, it's quite a production. It's actually fantastic and amazing to see all of the work that these young folks have put in, and it's really why we're here today. So I have a statement prepared, but I'd like to read something that I just took off the wall outside. And if you've not been in the 205 building, I encourage you to come here. And I will not say the names of the folks who posted this, but there's one out there that says, follow your passion. Seriously, take action when you're young. Not all of us. Gain tractions. You can and will make it happen. Another one out there is, a young lady said how much she will miss the BRTV family, but she said what she regrets is not joining sooner, and how much of a fantastic time. And so I take away what I have learned and why I'm here from these young people that have posted this outside, and it's wonderful to see. So my name is Hirol. Some of you know me, some of you don't. If you'd like to get to know me, certainly look at the Breeze and the Patch profiles. Born and raised in India, moved here in 1984, well before many of the folks in this room were born. Professionally, have been in the financial services industry for 22 years, and currently a mom of 2 kids in the district. 13 and 8, and I'm really excited to represent myself as a candidate here today. What I would say to all of you is encourage all of you to vote. Regardless of which one of us you vote for, please go out there and vote.
So, good evening. A real heartfelt thanks to the Bridgewater-Raritan Council, School Association, to Mr. Black, to Mr. Linzer, the school faculty, and of course our BR student moderators and the AV engineers to facilitate tonight's evening broadcast. You guys rock. Just to start off, so I'm just going to give you a little bit about myself. I'm Fabiola Polino. I'm a 15-year resident in Bridgewater. I'm a daughter of an educator, and I have 3 daughters. One who's a junior at Bridgewater-Raritan High School, and I have twins at Hillside Intermediate. I'm a graduate of Rutgers University with a BA in both political science and Italian, and a minor in international business and economy. I actually finished that while I studied at the University of Florence, Italy during my junior year abroad. So it was like a really amazing experience. I graduated Phi Beta Kappa, honors in all of my studies. And upon graduation, I actually went to work for the U.S. State Department as an intern at the U.S. Embassy in Rome, which is absolutely a life experience you will never have again. I work for Ferrero USA as a market innovation manager. From a community perspective, for the past 10 years, I've been involved in the Bridgewater community as a volunteer soccer coach, and I am the chair of the Bridgewater Recreation Advisory Committee. I enjoy immensely coaching kids. And now I'm running for the Board of Education. It's because I really want to reinforce the basics, academic growth, and nurturing our youth. it really comes down to the three basics of classroom, teachers, and educators. Thank you.
Good evening. For those of you who do not know me, I am Stacy Friedlander, an experienced educator, environmentalist, and grassroots leader. I'm excited to be a candidate for the Board of Education. I'm mom to 8th grader Jack and 3rd grader Max. In 2011, my husband and I chose to move here because we fell in love with the neighborhood and community, but also knew that the schools were excellent. I know a lot of viewers have read our Patch and Breeze articles, so I thought it'd be good to share some other things about me you may not know. My life has taken me down many different paths, and I still continue to wear many different hats. I started my post-Syracuse University career out in the White House, working on environmental policy issues, and my passion for the environment is still something I very much care about today. Science was a huge part of my environmental policy studies, and when I moved back to New Jersey, I decided to go back to school and become a certified teacher, initially wanting to just teach science. However, I had an opportunity to intern at a private special education school, and I quickly developed a new passion for wanting to advocate and help students with learning or developmental challenges. I graduated Kean University with a post-baccalaureate in education and special education. I spent 16 years teaching public schools and taught everything from middle school science to 1st and 2nd grade reading intervention. Outside of work, I volunteer my time at Temple Shalom, where I'm a president of our sisterhood organization. I also continue to keep the efforts of the Mass Squad and the Vaccine Angels alive through the Volunteer Squad, where we work hard to continue to help our community in a time of need. These experiences working with community groups have given me skills to work with people of all different backgrounds and ideas, all working towards a common goal. I'm deeply invested in this community, and I believe that our schools are one of the top reasons families move here. I'm ready to get to work, and I thank you for the opportunity.
Hello, good evening. My name is AJ Joshi, and first I want to thank the CSA for this opportunity to speak to everyone this evening, and especially to the students who have worked really hard to put this program together. So thank you guys. I'm running for re-election for the Bridgewater-Raritan Board of Education, and yes, I am the only incumbent this year. A little about who I am. I have 2 children who are currently enrolled in our schools. My daughter Mira is in 10th grade here at the high school, and my son Ishan is in 7th grade at the middle school. I have a master's degree in environmental science and engineering from Rutgers University and NJIT, and I have been working for the New Jersey DEP Environmental Protection for the past 23 years. I'm running again this year because I strongly believe that this is an important Board of Education election. We are still in the midst of a pandemic. Our faculty and our students have just returned back to school after almost 18 months of virtual and hybrid learning. And we have many new administrators in the district. And at this point, an experienced Board of Education is an absolute necessity. I have served on a variety of Board of Educations totaling more than 10 years. And throughout my tenure as a Bridgewater-Raritan Board of Education member, I have supported our excellent academic programs for all learners, as well as our award-winning performing arts programs, athletics, clubs, and activities. I have fully supported our teachers and administrators, and if re-elected, I will continue to support our staff, who are the backbone of our successful and high-ranking school district. Currently, we have a great mix of board members, and maintaining continuity is key. Furthermore, being on the Board of Education is a huge commitment I have upheld and taken to heart. I completely understand my role as a Board of Education member, and I bring experience and integrity to the board. And I look forward to serving another 3 years on the Bridgewater-Raritan Board of Education. Thank you.
The last 2 years were some of the most challenging we've seen in generations. Families struggled across a spectrum of difficulty and loss so diverse that it is impossible to represent them all. Infrastructure was hit hard. But I think we are at a crossroads, the turning point. And the question that you should be asking yourself when you cast your vote is, where do you want to see the future go? Hi, I'm Jennifer Lochran. I am very proud to have been a Bridgewater resident for 35 years. I grew up in the district, and I have seen the evolution of this town from the days of farmland to what it is now, a vibrant, diverse, and active community. I'll talk more about my corporate experience, but for now, let's talk about skateboarding. I began that journey in the city, but brought it back to my hometown. In collaboration with the Department of Recreation, I built a skateboarding program right here in Bridgewater, and all of the profit from this program goes to a charity foundation dedicated to improving public spaces. My husband, friends, and I, we built a custom modular skate park, and we pack it into my minivan. Teenagers helped me unload and set up at Alpha Brown Park in Bradley Gardens, and together we mentor kids to conquer fear, to break down big goals into small steps, and achieve them. Our skate community fosters independence in a culture of positive social interaction. Collectively, we celebrate each other's successes, but more importantly, when we fall, we not only encourage each other to get back up, it is seen as an accomplishment. We applaud this comeback by smacking our skateboards on the ground. It is an act of respect derived from skate culture, because in skateboarding, like life, we all fall. It is how we face adversity that builds character. And when we choose to stand back up, we come back stronger. I have one of the greatest privileges I could ask for. I get to know each of your kids for the individuals they are and help them grow. My purpose, my drive, and my mission are all centered on the betterment of children's lives. And while we as a community are looking to rise from the challenges of the last 2 years, the most foundational place that I can bring that commitment is to the Board of Education. Thank you to BRTV and CSA for the platform to share why I'm running, what I hope to achieve, and why I'm asking you for your vote.
Good evening. I'm Kimberly Lucci. I would like to thank, first of all, the CSA, Mr. Black and Mr. Linzer, and the BRTV student volunteers for putting together this Candidates Night event. I've lived in Bridgewater for more than 50 years. I kind of don't really want to tell you that because it makes me sound old, but I have lived here for more than 50 years. I've grown up and gone to school in this district in Bridgewater, and I know firsthand what a wonderful town and outstanding school system we have. My husband Patrick and I just celebrated our 19th wedding anniversary last week. We have a daughter who's currently a sophomore at BRRSD, and my husband and I chose to stay in Bridgewater and send our daughter to BRRSD because of the quality education we knew she would receive. I graduated from BRHS East in 1983. I consider myself fortunate to have attended the Bridgewater-Raritan schools and to have received an excellent education and preparation for college from my many incredible teachers. After graduating from high school, I went on to earn a Bachelor of Science degree in Languages and Linguistics and Political Science from Georgetown University in Washington, D.C. I decided to go to graduate school afterwards, so I came back to my home state to begin a PhD program in comparative literature at Rutgers University in New Brunswick. I consider myself a lifelong learner, and to attest to this fact, there are several bookcases in my house overflowing with books, favorite books that I want to reread, and lots more books still waiting to be read. I myself am the daughter of an educator. My father was a reading specialist in the Hillsborough School District for 30 years. So of course, education and learning were always core values in our family's home, as were community service and volunteerism. Continuing this tradition of service, my husband and I have volunteered countless hours in support of many local nonprofit organizations. Currently, our entire family volunteers at the Matheny Medical and Education Center in PPAC, and I have also volunteered at the Lions VA Medical Center, St. Hubert's Animal Welfare Center, Woodlands Wildlife Refuge, and the Raptor Trust. Over the course of my professional life, I've had the opportunity to work in several different sectors, including higher education for over 15 years, the pharmaceutical industry, media, and communications. I've attended many board meetings during the past 10 years and have gained a very good understanding of how the board functions. I believe this is an ideal time to serve on the board and work collaboratively to refine the strategic plan and steer the district successfully into the future.
Good evening. My name is Richard Dick Myers. I'm a resident of Bridgewater Township for 31 years. I met my wife, Susan, when I was in my law enforcement career. I'm a retired law enforcement officer for 25 years of service here in Somerset County. During that time, I was a crisis negotiator. I also earned my bachelor's in criminal justice then and has been working towards my master's in leadership. I have 3 children, 2 that have gone through the Bridgewater-Raritan School District. One is at Rutgers in business school, Brandon. He's also playing football there. My middle son, Bryce, is playing football now at UPenn. And my daughter is Breland is a freshman who made the varsity cheer team. I'm married to my wife, Susan, for 31 years, as long as we've lived in this town. I grew up in a town called Middlesex, which is right next door to Bridgewater. In my hometown, when somebody told us we couldn't do it, we told them, get out of the way, we're going to get it done. And I've done that in many different aspects here in this township. Been a youth coach in our Cal Ripken program and our Pop Warner program, and have taught kids from the age of 5 all the way up to when they moved on to high school sports. What I did when I was part of that teaching as a coach, I always stressed to our kids, academics, academics, academics. The sports can open a door for you, but it's the academics that's going to get you through that door. And I believe in all of our students, whatever they do, to help them get to better education or whatever life brings them down the line. One of the biggest things I did for this community is I started the Bridgewater-Raritan High School Hall of Fame, which will have our first dinner ever in over 30 years at the Bridgewater Manor this coming Saturday night. So I'm happy to be here, and I look forward to you, the community, supporting me to get on this board. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. And now for the first question. What are the strengths of BRRSD that need to be preserved and protected because they directly contribute to the district's success? And what are the opportunities for growth? Please name 2 in each area. We will start this round with Ms. Friedlander.
In terms of preserve and protect, our high-achieving staff is one of our most treasured assets. Bridgewater-Raritan continues to attract and hold on to highly qualified and effective teachers, which directly contributes to our students' successes. We have received recognition in publications like U.S. News and World Report, U.S. Money Magazine, and more. Bridgewater-Raritan High School has received both the National Blue Ribbon Award and the Star School status. Bridgewater-Raritan also has fantastic arts and extracurricular programs that we should celebrate and honor. Our schools offer a variety of extracurricular clubs and programs that appeal to the broad interests of our students. Students can participate in activities that help enhance their interests and skills, whether it be band and orchestra, club sports, BRTV, robotics, and my personal fave, theater arts. There is truly something for everyone. And what makes our clubs and activities so great? Students themselves are constantly creating new ones, adding to our amazing catalog of enriching activities. In terms of areas of growth, I'd love to see more investment in full-day kindergarten. Although the district had once made full-day kindergarten a long-term goal, it's still been sitting on the back burner for a number of years. In 2013, several parents and myself began the push for the district to consider and review full-day kindergarten. As a former K-2 teacher, I know all too well how essential it is for foundational skills to be taught in the earliest of years. As we strive to continue to teach them one and all and move forward in our path of educational excellence, incorporating full-day kindergarten allows early intervention, socialization, and early skill development, as well as enrichment. It may also help to address the concerns of equity in education at a foundational level. Children who start behind are more likely to stay behind throughout their lives, with huge implications for the rest of their schooling, their jobs, and even future relationships. I hope that we will explore financial and curriculum support as early learning is increasingly supported at a statewide level. Mental health challenges continue to affect our students. Our students live in a world where they communicate with their friends and classmates through social media and entertainment apps, and they can experience a variety of emotions all within the same few minutes. Our children can focus on one negative online interaction, which could affect their ability to focus and concentrate during the school day or even while studying at home. As a parent, I would like to see continued and increased informational sessions and coaching that would support both students and their families.
Okay, so as far as strength and growth goes, there are lots of strengths in our district, but I'm going to focus on a couple of them at this point. I believe our teachers and staff are our strengths. They are the backbone of our district. And in order to preserve and protect our teachers, I believe the Board of Ed should provide every resource necessary to them so that they in turn can provide excellent education to our students. That brings me to our next strength, our students. Because we have excellent and dedicated teachers, our students consistently outperform their peers in other districts. Our diverse group of students are the ones who outshine all the rest, and because of our staff and students, we are ranked as one of the top performing schools in the state. And to preserve this high level of achievement, we have to provide necessary resources to our faculty and students. My fellow board members and I consistently approve professional development and in fact encourage our staff to participate in a variety of training. We have a broad range of extracurricular programs that support all types of learners in our district. In fact, recently we initiated a program called MTSS, which stands for Multi-Tiered System of Support, to meet the needs of those students who need extra help in a variety of areas throughout the district. And there are always opportunities for growth. Currently, we are in the process of examining our school infrastructure and security measures. In the coming months, the Board of Education will be providing details for our future plans so that proper growth in these areas can be achieved. Thank you.
The greatest strength in our district is our community. The diversity of our families and students, the expertise and experience of our educators, administrators, and personnel, as well as the active engagement of community leaders. My second answer is actually a two-parter. It is both a strength and an opportunity, or many opportunities. Having been a student decades ago, I remember our facilities, though they were already over 30 years old, were freshly painted, clean, and welcoming. We had extraordinary resources that neighboring districts didn't, incredible sports fields that were not closed because of flooding, multiple cafeterias with food that we enjoyed, and access to what was at the time cutting-edge technology and science labs. But what is our greatest strength is also an opportunity for growth. Our facilities are in dire need of repair. Storm drainage, updates to recreational areas, security, bathrooms, air conditioning, and antiquated electrical panels. Additionally, our schools would benefit from more modern media centers, science labs, computer labs, and site security. Last week, the Board of Education posted a survey on the website asking residents to prioritize a long list of issues affecting our district. Unfortunately, the survey was only sent to parents whose children were currently enrolled in the district. But what about the parents of toddlers and preschoolers? Most of these issues won't even be addressed until they're already entering school. What are their priorities? In fact, all residents are impacted by these decisions, and they should be entitled to know what is happening in the district and have their input included on surveys such as this, especially when there's a potential referendum. One of my primary reasons for running is to ensure that all stakeholders feel heard and have access to the information that they need. When there is a lack of communication, there's an increase in confusion and anxiety. When teachers are the last to know what is happening, there's a lack of trust and a sense that their input and expertise are being overlooked. The Board of Education needs to remedy this breakdown of communication so that board members can be informed and leverage the know-how of the professionals and leaders who have the experience to help solve problems that they are dealing with. I have talked about the privilege I have of working with children in the community, and just as I am dedicated to that work, I am dedicated to the futures of young people that I serve, and the educators who work tirelessly to help them achieve their educational needs. And another opportunity that I see for growth is improving the academic success of all the students of Bridgewater-Raritan, and to close the gaps, whether it be through addressing socioeconomic challenges or the learning loss that was the result of the pandemic. And I will address those issues in a later segment.
So our school district has many strengths. We have been designated a Blue Ribbon School and a Star School. We have academic programs that are very strong and need to be maintained. Students in our district also have a broad choice of clubs and sports to participate in. One outstanding example is the Roots and Shoots program at Hillside. It's a program near and dear to our family because our daughter participated in Roots and Shoots while she was at Hillside, and my husband was fortunate enough to meet Dr. Jane Goodall when she visited Hamilton School, an encounter which I'm very jealous of. We obviously must ensure that all these programs continue to be offered in our schools. Another strength of our school district is, of course, our teachers. Our classroom teachers need to get the support to do their jobs well, and this support can take many forms. For example, support for mental health. This continues to be a very challenging time. Teachers are under a great deal of stress. Some have resigned, others are out on family medical leave, and increased transparency with stakeholders. Live streaming of board meetings, for example, is just one of several ways to increase access and transparency. Communication is key around this issue. Recently, the district has stated that it is working on establishing an open door policy. It will be important for the board to support this initiative and ensure that it is implemented.
I focus on two areas of strength that we have. One, obviously, is our teachers. Our teachers have been solid and have helped make our school district one of the top schools in the state. We can help make it better by making the school, a district, a destination for young, qualified teachers that want to come here and teach. Once they're here, we need to establish a program that maintains these teachers in our district. Let's not make this a training ground where people move on after we've taught them and trained them. They moved on to other districts and make those districts better. We also need to raise the standards of our administrators to meet. Don't just fill positions for the sake of filling them. We need to recruit the best administrators that we can find and not just the flashy resume. We also want to maintain and improve upon our AP Honors and IEP programs. The AP and Honor programs are irreplaceable academic programs that further prepare our students for higher level education after they graduate. We also cannot forget our students that take quality courses offered in our school's curriculums. It's very important that we continue to challenge and prepare them for college or any path they choose to pursue after graduation. We need to maintain and improve upon our IEP programs to help our students with learning disabilities. It is very important that we take every opportunity to help progress the learning of our IEP students while they're in school. We need to help prepare them for higher education and to excel on their own in society after graduation. My next area is the growth as extracurricular activities and pride in our community. We need to continue to provide students with a variety of extracurricular activities such as clubs, sports, and arts. By affording students these activities, it will provide them an outlet to express their creative ideas and abilities. It will also allow students an opportunity to further their education in college via curricular-based scholarship opportunities. Additionally, all students that partake in extracurricular activities build crucial life skills such as problem solving in the face of adversity that allow them to excel far beyond their playing days. pride in the community. I think this is something that's been lost upon Bridgewater. I came from a small town, Middlesex, where pride was major. It needs to be reestablished, preserved, and protected. As a community, we need to show pride in our facilities, which includes our schools, sports complex. The Bridgewater community is a destination community that families come to because they have read about it and realtors tell them that the schools are great. The families arrive, they see crumbling schools, embarrassing sports complex, and are left to wonder if they've been sold a bill of goods. We can't do that to our families. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I'm back. So, my answer is not very different from the folks that have spoken before me. Look, we've got, what do we need to preserve? We need to preserve our diversity, our community, our villages. This is where we live. It's upon each and every one of us to take pride and ownership in how the buildings look and what the schools do and determine the best way forward. In addition to the community, what I would say is teachers, supporting staff, lunch aides, right? We are now at a time where these folks need our support more than ever. Jen mentioned earlier, this is not the same place that it was pre-pandemic. We are post-pandemic or in the pandemic and certainly need a way forward, not only in supporting these teachers in just mental health, but also with the resources that they need to get their jobs done. It's imperative that if they feel supported, our children will feel supported. If administrators feel supported, our children will feel supported. See where I'm going with this? If the support team feels supported, our children will feel supportive. So it's important that every single person in the organization of the school system is supported. At the end of the day, I think we need to establish this as a great place to work as much as it is a great place to learn. This brings me to opportunities. Many of the candidates spoke earlier about things that happen in the district. Kim spoke about Roots and Shoots, right? Great program. There's an opportunity there, however, when you think about programs that are available, some are available to certain schools and some are not available to other schools. There's an opportunity there to ensure that a great program that's offered at Hillside is also offered at Eisenhower. If we're doing it in one place, let's try to do it in the other. And how do we get there? Also an opportunity around what we do, buddy basketball. Wonderful idea. My daughter participated. She loved it. The kids loved it. It only happens up to a certain time of year in a certain class. Let's rinse and repeat that, right? Why not take something that's already working well and put it out to the community and do it over and over again? Another opportunity I do think we have, and I know I'm only supposed to have two, so I'd say one is around repeating programs we've got in other places that are already working well. The next one is transparency around how decisions are made, when decisions are made, and who makes those. I met a young man outside and I said to him, "Don't make me look stupid." And he said, "That's not my job, I'm a stage manager." And interestingly enough, he is the stage manager. He has no purview over the camera, and it's important that we all learn and take the onus on ourselves to learn the roles and responsibilities of how the school system is run, and I think that's an important factor in what we're doing. So let's work smarter, not continue to work harder, because really, as all of you know, there just isn't any time or energy to work any harder, and what I would say is, let's start working together in order to create an environment where we not just succeed, but we thrive. Thanks.
My focus will always remain on academics, first and foremost. So if an area of preserve and protect, academic offerings from our core academics to visual and performing arts to life skills and career, and our co-curricular programs and activities are the two that should remain at the forefront what is to be preserved and protected. The core will nurture their knowledge, while the latter of art, music, and even Roots and Shoots will shape the individual via means of expression, stimulate interest, and tap into their passions. It is imperative that we continue to support our curriculum, ensure it encompasses the tools, materials, and fundamentals needed for proper learning, emphasizing critical thinking, problem solving, objectivity, and academic principles. When I look at the areas of opportunities and growth, one area I focus on is student resource and guidance. Our children are navigating uncharted waters in an era where, even as adults, we find difficult at times to comprehend and navigate. The impact of them on them is exponential, as they will still be learning about their world, how they identify themselves in that world, and what path they will take in this world. Assisting students in this technological world on how safely to use technology for education as well as for social interaction cannot be overlooked. Most students are now connected socially around the clock. The drawbacks are that their mental health, stress, and socialization skills. There's also the aspect of cyberbullying, slandering, body shaming, for which we need to implement programs at all levels. This must be reinforced in academia, but it also must be a partnership between parents and academia to secure the welfare of our students. Second is enhancing our focus on ensuring we reach every child and address their various levels of learning. It is imperative that we provide quality learning to all children. As a mother of 3, with different learning sets from accelerated to academic level to an IEP, we need to ensure that our students at all levels excel, and one is not more important than the other. We need to continue to challenge our students at all levels, inspire them and guide them, and identify when they are struggling. There's always, for an instance, when a child on paper looks like he's doing pretty well, but it takes a great mentor and a teacher to see that it's a child's potential. From a personal experience, I am forever grateful to a teacher when my daughter was in 2nd grade who noticed my child struggling and no one else did. Because of her, she is now excelling. So that's an area where we need to continue to focus on the guidance and look at the potential of our students.
Thank you, everyone. And now for the second question. What are your fiscal priorities? We will start this round with Ms. Lochran.
The fiscal priority of an effective board member is to keep the district moving forward, to maximize efficiency, provide the best possible education within our means, and look for savings where it can be realized. The feedback of stakeholders is also critical in determining what the priorities are, and through collaboration with fellow board members and administration, I would make informed decisions on behalf of all interests. With a budget of $176 million, it is easy to ask the question, why can't we do this? Well, the truth is that the great majority of the budget is allocated toward the most vital resources. Our educators, administration, building and groundskeeping, librarians, cafeteria workers, and bus drivers, to name a few. I've heard the words, there's nothing you can do about the budget. That's not entirely true. There are opportunities. We just have to look for them. For example, the negotiation process doesn't have to be adversarial. If we instead seek to collaborate and work together to resolve disputes in a cooperative process, we could avoid mediation and litigation that takes funds directly away from educational needs and puts them towards legal expenses. As we look for opportunities to collaborate, we should consider the relationship between the town municipality and the school district. It is no secret that discussions have been heated this political season, but when the dust settles, town hall and the schoolhouse should find ways to leverage a mutually beneficial approach to solving problems. As the board begins to plan for the upgrades to media centers, science labs, and computer labs, we should be engaging those who will actually be using them, as they know what they need and should be a part of the process to avoid underutilization and unnecessary spending. The board needs to reflect on the best practices here in our own district and also at those in other districts, and search for ways to save money, but also capitalize on the kind of progress that results in more win-win scenarios for the stakeholders of Bridgewater-Raritan.
Our school district is large and diverse. Our budget has many line items, and the majority of the budget is actually compensation and benefits. The challenges we face here are numerous and difficult, particularly over the past year and a half. I think that our facilities need to be a fiscal priority. It's good to see some steps being taken in this direction. A survey has been sent out to the school community. The deadline was Sunday, and hopefully everyone had a chance to submit that. And there's also a potential referendum that's being considered. There needs to be a better, more comprehensive plan in place for maintenance and upgrades to the infrastructure, especially considering that the majority of our school buildings are more than half a century old at this point. Another priority should be maintaining our high-quality academic programs. With a new superintendent and a new middle school principal and the search on for a new high school principal, the Board of Education can ensure the necessary resources made available by making carefully considered budgetary allocations for now and future years. And of course, this has to do with strategic planning. Thoughtful financial stewardship is a critical aspect of the board's role, and this involves proper operational and capital investments, particularly regarding our facilities maintenance and upgrades, technology, and professional development for our teachers. In the present climate of ever-changing conditions, the board, administration, and parents must join together to help safely navigate our entire school community through these times.
My fiscal responsibilities would be, we need to find ways to fix our crumbling schools and not placing most of the burden on our taxpayers. I know there was recently a survey sent out speaking about going out on referendum. Referendum means voting to improve things, which then puts the burden on the taxpayers. We need to research if there's grants available through the federal system or the state governments that may be able to help us with this. Maybe reaching out to companies in the area that are getting rid of furniture, science stuff that they do research with, microscopes and things like that, that may be able to help us put off that cost in the short term, and then we look to improve in the long term. We need to look at this, and we can't conquer this in all one fell swoop. It's not going to work. So we have to find a way to tackle the priorities in order. All right? We need to address these issues head on. We can't keep kicking the can down the road. This is what got us to the crumbling school district. It is an absolute embarrassment when you walk into our school through the gymnasium entrance. It's dirty, it's dank. You go to the high school sports complex. You've got pavers that were paid for by families that are dirty, weeds growing through it. You have the flag with the monument there. Weeds are growing through the pavers. Weeds are growing all around the monument. It's something that tells people that visit us that we're not all we're cracked up to be. And it's an embarrassment where we don't have community pride to get together and say we need to fix these things. You have, one of the things Jennifer mentioned, the school budget talks about facilities, structures. We've never maintained anything that's been given to this school by parents. Okay, we've given them a football field that they didn't maintain. We've given them a soccer lacrosse field that they haven't maintained. I helped bring about a raffle that paid for the varsity baseball field, $45,000, that put a brand new field in. What happened was they failed to maintain it, it deteriorated, and now this year they asked the taxpayers to come up with $45,000 to fix that field that was given to them. Beautiful. So we need to stop just kicking the can down the road and somebody taking charge of taking care of our facilities. I thank you.
All right, so the question specifically is around our fiscal priorities. And I think we all know, depending on who you talk to, you get a different opinion. So I'll give you mine. Unlike what Dick said, I'm not embarrassed of any of our facilities, but I will admit that they need some work. Money doesn't grow on trees, and we need to figure out how to make the best use of the budget we've got allocated. So while it's large, and it sounds large, when you break it down into the amount of money that needs to be spent in everything across what we do, we have to prioritize. And unfortunately, some of those priorities have had to shift a little bit over the last couple of years. So number one, I agree. Infrastructure. I disagree that it's an embarrassment and people should be ashamed of living here or not coming, because I'm actually really proud of what we've done as a community and as a team to help our schools. What I would say from an infrastructure perspective is, for those parents that painted Van Holten, go paint Adamsville, go paint JFK, go paint Broadley Gardens. I think it's on all of us. Money doesn't grow on trees, folks. despite what my daughter thinks about the tree in the backyard, I do think we need to prioritize. And I also think we need to listen to the folks who are willing to give an opinion. What do the teachers need? What do they need to survive? What do they need to get along? Put their mask on before we continue to try to do other things. All right, so what's my other priority? We talk quite a bit about AI programs. We talk quite a bit about IEPs. We talk about academics and meeting kids at their academic level. Guess what? One of my kids did amazing as a virtual student. I'm not saying hybrid, people. Pause, dramatic pause, everyone. I'm not talking about a hybrid model, but I do think there are students in the district where we need to meet them where they are, and that is providing them an opportunity to learn virtually. It's providing teachers an opportunity to work remotely. It's providing students who need different things other than academics to meet them where they are. And so package that up as you will. I think we have been short-sighted in concentrating on just the academic needs of students. The world is changing. There are physical needs, there are emotional needs. Those are the things we need to continue to work on. So yes, I'm the candidate that's for virtual choice for anyone that had a question in their mind. I am the one. I am not saying hybrid. I am saying let's meet these kids where they need to be, and if they need a virtual option, let's work towards providing that. We cannot do this alone. It would be foolish of me to say, hey, Bridgewater, let's do this by ourselves. But I do think that if our voices are loud enough, we can certainly get on board and work with the state of New Jersey in order to provide an option that's necessary for these kids as well. And it's not just the folks that need to be home, but let's look at the mental and emotional needs of students and where they thrive in their learning needs as well.
So when I look at the fiscal priorities, it's twofold. One has a direct impact on the other. It's safety and it's learning. Safety in our structural infrastructure, thus addressing our aging infrastructures. Our school buildings are aging and that's requiring further maintenance. Thus, renovation and modernization are critical. We need to ensure that our students and educators have a safe environment where they're learning. We also need to ensure that the classroom is equipped with technological infrastructure needed to support learning. Perfect example is our children utilize their Chromebooks every day. Responsibly, they charge them every night, just like my 3 kids do, hoping that the batteries last until the final period of the day, because there aren't enough electrical outlets to support the students. Students are taking turns to do so. Also, we need to ensure that our labs continue to be properly funded to optimize learning in the 21st century for our students. The main point is it can all be done if we focus on optimizing the budget, being cost effective, and staying aligned to our priorities, the student, the educator, and the classroom.
I hate to sound like a repeated song here, but one of the biggest issues for me and that I've been very clear about in a lot of the media releases is the infrastructure issue. Our buildings are in need of much needed repairs and upgrades. I was glad to see that the district sent out the community survey and especially to get a feel from the community as stakeholders where we all stand in terms of our priorities. However, that survey did not make it into the hands of nearly every single stakeholder in this community. Whether it be updating for HVAC improvements or repairing building structure, these are all improvements that have long been needed. We have to make sure our buildings are suitable for the current climate and provide a healthy and safe learning environment, but also are upgraded to meet the safety and security needs as well. I look forward to supporting the superintendent and board regardless of the election on these important and necessary upgrades and improvements. Secondly, I do believe that we need to address some fiscal priorities in terms of special education and early intervention. Currently, we have had to increase our needs of intervention teachers within the school district in order to accommodate for a lack of or more need for early intervention in kindergarten and first grade. This puts a dramatic strain on first grade teachers who then have to make up for lack of phonics skills, early reading skills, and spelling that could have been addressed in kindergarten. I hope that we will be able to put the needs of our students, teachers, and the community at the forefront of next budget discussions.
So one of the main responsibilities of the Board of Education is managing the budget. And everyone has different ideas of how you're going to disperse the funds in many different directions. When you consider faculty, consider buildings and grounds, technology, how do you divide up this pie? And as I said before, we consistently rank as one of the highest performing school districts in the state. And there's a reason for that. And to maintain this level of excellence, we must spend our money wisely and efficiently. In the very near future, our overall debt service will be coming off. This will allow the district to have a minimum impact on our taxes. Because remember, every action that you take has an equal and opposite reaction. Taxes are at the top. And at this same time, providing an opportunity to tackle a variety of projects, including improving our buildings and grounds, improving and maintaining our ball fields, exploring having a full-day kindergarten, providing air conditioning to all of our schools, and vastly improving our security measures. Furthermore, we have to ensure that we retain our excellent staff. This includes providing competitive compensation at every level of the district. However, we also have to be financially and fiscally responsible and seek input from all of our stakeholders. This is where experienced Board of Education comes in. We are in a good position to achieve many of these projects in the near future, and we have started this process by recently sending out a community survey seeking input so that the right decisions can be made. In the end, we also have to remember that the ultimate beneficiary of our budgeting process will be our students.
Thank you. And now for the third and final question. Regarding administration, how would you support the new leadership and encourage longevity of their careers in the district? We will start this round with Mr. Myers.
Thank you. We need to establish transparent and open lines of communication with our leadership of the administration. We have to have discussions that can best achieve an outcome that meets the needs of our students while not burdening the taxpayers with tax increases. Work together to make our school district the envy of all school districts throughout the state. I've listened to, talking about a survey being sent out. Yes, the survey was sent out only to the parents of students. It wasn't sent out to the entire community. And once that survey gets out to the entire community, there may be a lot of backlash from that. So we need to be able to have a firm line of communication to the stakeholders, to our taxpayers, and explain to them why things need to be done. The crumbling infrastructure has been a failure. A failure on who? Past administrations, past boards. Now they're trying to catch up. And the problem with catching up is you're way behind and it gets costly. In this day and age, with everything rising, all the costs for, wood, cement, construction, you can't get people, out there, workers to work. So it's going to cost a lot more. Even though you take the low bid coming in, it's still going to be higher than what it normally would be. And that's going to be a problem. So we need to have that line of communication open, not only with the superintendent and other administrators, but with the taxpayers of the community. We need to let them know a plan, a clear and definite, firm plan on how we want to get this done and accomplished. And I think reaching out, again, I'll go back to searching for grants, something that can help us, going and talking to businesses, major corporations in the town that could possibly help us. Those are things that we need to get done. And we haven't seen a lot of communication take place with past administrations, past boards. When communication has been attempted, it's kind of been talk to the hand, or we're going to kick that down the line and we'll get back to you maybe. Okay? I don't like the term circle back. I deal with things directly and head on. You need to be honest with people. Sometimes honesty hurts, but it's the way we need to be. We need to be honest. And that's what I do. I talk directly to people and I come up with solutions. And I think that by communicating and devising a plan that everybody can live with is what we need to do. Thank you.
So many of you that have been involved and kind of following where the origination of this question comes from, it's really from the turnover of teachers and support staff and administrators. And I think it's important to understand that the average rate of a superintendent in a school is 4 years, right? Before we all go setting things on fire about, oh my God, people are leaving, it's time for us to get more educated. And so I'll go back to my friend Christopher that I mentioned at the top of the hour, or the top of however many hours, when we talked about education of roles. And Christopher taught me today his role versus the roles of his partners here. And it's important for us all to understand so that we can support our leadership in the way that they need to be supported, right? It's not just about schools. It's not just about the teachers, it's about the administrators. And unless we know what it is their job is, we can't go out there and say, hey, Christopher, don't make me look stupid, because guess what? Christopher has absolutely no way of not making me look stupid. Thank you, Christopher. The other part, I guess I'd like to talk about is diplomacy. So I had the honor of meeting late Secretary of State Colin Powell. And one of the things that he says, if you ever read an interview from him, and may he rest in peace, is around how we need to negotiate and be diplomatic, right? Social media is a huge part of this. I mean, some of the shit we say to each other is horrible. It's time for a little bit of kindness, not just to ourselves, but to the administrators and the support staff and the teachers. So let's just take a time out, take a deep breath, and in our communications, be a little bit more diplomatic in how we interact with each other. Collaboration, consensus, and communication. I do agree with Dick on that. That communication is key. It's important that we listen to understand instead of to respond, right? We don't even let people finish what they want to say before we come out with our statement. Listen to understand instead of responding. Talk to each other and not at each other. And I do think that the administrators and the support teams and the teachers want to do their best. God bless Paula for rallying us cats for tonight. You had to see the amount of emails she went through. What we did and what we have the power to do is make things easier on our administrators and our support teams rather than harder. So what I'd like to say is that supporting the leadership is not just my duty alone, but certainly the responsibility of every single parent and community member to ensure that they've got what they need in order to succeed. Thanks.
I've been 25 years in pretty much corporate America. So I'm going to review administration retention as I would view it in business and focus on acquiring the best talent and retaining the talent. First and foremost, we have to start with integrity, trust, and respect. The principal factor is mutual respect. We need to understand what administration vision is and the board's vision and the agenda, followed by identifying the top priorities and focusing on common goals and missions. This does not mean we have to agree on everything, but it does mean that we must be respected, evaluated, and weighted. The goal is to stay the path, working to develop a strategic plan that can incorporate short-term goals, 1 to 2 years, midterm goals, 3 to 5 years, and long-term goals from 5 to 10 years. Retaining leadership and their longevity is based on cultural fit, too, and open and transparent communication and collaboration. You need to give administration a reason to believe and invest their time in our district. Thank you.
So, since becoming a Bridgewater-Raritan parent, I definitely have watched a number of superintendents come and go. In fact, I tried to count, and I think it was 7, and most of them were interim. Let's face it, burnout is real, and most tenures for superintendents last fewer than 3 years. As the climate of the district continues to change, I hope that we can come together and consider this a fresh start under the new leadership of Superintendent Beers. We need to create an environment where one would want to stay, wants to grow with us. I'd like to see improved communications and community relations between the parents and the superintendent. Live streaming of Board of Ed meetings, so important, especially for those of us who work or have young children and want to feel included and not shut out of the process. I'd like to see more awareness of the role of the superintendent and the Board of Ed so that meetings are efficient and communication channels are known and used. The superintendent is our CEO. He's the face of our amazing school district. We should be bettering ourselves and working towards creating a school community where everyone is on the same team, where opinions matter and can be heard, but with compassion and empathy. Remember, our end goal is all the same: wonderful schools, excellent teachers, and students who go on to be successful adults. Thank you.
So yes, indeed, we have many new faces in the district. We have a new superintendent, Mr. Beers, new principals at the middle school, Hillside, and at Hamilton School. We also have many new program supervisors as well. Like any large organization, as opportunities arise within this organization, there's always going to be upward movement. Also, there will be retirement as well, and that is what has occurred in our district in recent times. However, whenever opportunities arise, we first look at how we can promote our own from within our own district family. We did just that when Ms. Jones and Dr. Fondra were promoted to the positions of assistant superintendents, and Ms. Corliss was promoted as the middle school principal. And that is just to name a few. One of the top responsibilities of a Board of Education is to hire the superintendent, and we achieved that by hiring Mr. Beers this year. We now have to support Mr. Beers by providing resources to him so that our schools keep performing at the highest level. Furthermore, we have to encourage professional development and training. In fact, this year our teachers and administrators will have many such opportunities throughout the school year. Additionally, we can and should provide a working environment that is welcoming, and I think it is extremely welcoming and comfortable place to work. Communication is key, and we have to ensure that as a Board of Education, we listen to all the comments and concerns, and we respect one another. Thank you.
Coming into a new district is challenging for any superintendent or principal. This year is particularly challenging because of the continuing unknowns of COVID as well as the setbacks from the last 2 years. There are hiring shortages. The busing situation is causing a rippling effect on families who depend on routine for their everyday lives. Those working to manage those transportation issues have done a tremendous job, but it's an ongoing challenge. Tensions are high. For every family ready to return to normal, there are residents urging the district to move more cautiously. Families who have no choice but to learn from home, whether it be because of quarantine or medical concerns, are frustrated. Teachers, administration, and staff are working in unprecedented circumstances, and we need to support their efforts as they manage these issues. Let's circle back, to the opportunities for growth. We need to close learning gaps. We need to create pathways for all students to achieve better academic outcomes, and we need to address the emotional well-being of students and staff. The district made a strong move when hiring our new superintendent. He comes to us from Manville and has not only accomplished recognizable achievements there, but has also made advancements in education at the state level and with the New Jersey School Boards Association. In his first presentation, Superintendent Beers rolled out an overview of goals for the district, reacclimate students to in-person learning, develop accelerated learning strategies to mitigate learning loss, incorporate social emotional initiatives, and create equity in the academic success for all students. The Board of Education's role is to make sure that the district is well run. Bridgewater-Raritan has exceptional talent and hired champions to lead it. We need to let them do their jobs and listen to them when they propose ideas and collaborate and work together as a board to find ways to support their goals. By investing in our leaders, we encourage longevity in the careers of all of our professionals, as they are invested in the success of Bridgewater-Raritan's children.
So I know that Haral mentioned the average length of time a superintendent stays in a school district as 4 years. I actually think it might be closer to 3. This tenure is heavily influenced, of course, by the contract terms, as well as the overall climate and culture in the district. The superintendent is essentially the spokesperson for the district and is a non-voting member of the Board of Education. It is critical that the superintendent, as well as the other administrators, receive the support they need to be successful in their roles. The Board of Education is a policy-making body. The responsibilities of the board include developing a common educational vision for the district and developing a strategic plan with goals, specific goals and priorities. And it's vital to bring the community into this process. The board and the administration must work together in concert to achieve the established goals of the district. Open communication and an ongoing dialogue between the administration and the board are essential to meet these goals and ensure the success of not only our administrators, but the district as a whole. Hiring and retaining the best candidates is extremely important. If we have qualified and passionate people in place, there's a much greater opportunity for collaboration, longevity, and success. Our school district's culture, morale, and achievement all trickle down from the top leadership through the various levels. In order to have a school district where students thrive, achieve, and are truly happy to be there, we need to create and sustain an environment in which our administrators, teachers, and staff feel supported and valued, and community members have ample opportunity for input.
Thank you, everyone. And now for our closing statements for this evening. We will begin with Ms. Foligno.
So just to leave you with a few thoughts. My focus remains, as I've put it out there all over Bridgewater, is really getting back to basics. It gets down to 3 fundamental principles: the classroom, the teacher, and the student. For any decision that comes across the board, I would judge it based upon how it impacts these 3 fundamental principles. Does it improve the learning environment? Does it provide a valuable investment and provide the tool necessary in the classroom to meet the demands of the 21st century? Does it create a space that promotes the student's focus? 2, does it make teaching more effective? Does it prioritize the frontline educators? Does it help attract and retain the best teachers? 3, does it improve the safety of every student? Does it help support and guide the child's development? Does it provide the student the fundamental skills necessary to succeed and be competitive in their future? In all I do, from being a people manager, a coach, or raising my own children, it is not my success that counts. It is my legacy and your legacy that counts. Our children are our legacy. Our children are our future. They will be the future leaders of Bridgewater and other communities. I thank you for this opportunity to share my passion and wish only the best for the Bridgewater-Raritan School District. Thank you.
First, tonight, I really want to thank Paula at the CSA and the team here at BRTV for doing such an excellent job. I've never been in their studio before, and I have to tell everybody at home, it's quite impressive. It's certainly not anything I grew up with doing television production back in Springfield. For closing statements, I just want to reiterate that I have been a proud BRRSD parent for the past 8 years, since Jack is in 8th grade. I have seen us go through so many different changes. I've been through so many different buildings. I've really liked to have the experience as a teacher for the past 16 years myself. And even as a teacher, I was constantly comparing the district I was teaching in to the programs at our district here. I cannot say this enough. I am proud that I moved here. I am proud that my children go to school here. And I can tell you that the programming and the curriculum and the staff and the teachers that we have here are exceptional. I want to see us continue to move into the right direction. I'm very excited to have our new superintendent, Mr. Beers, with us. I think that we have a board that is cohesive and is willing to make the right decisions and listen to the community. And I look forward to hopefully being a part of that team. Thank you.
Once again, I want to thank CSA students for putting this program together. In closing, I am seeking re-election this year because I strongly believe that this is an important election year for our school district. We have a new full-time superintendent, we have multiple new principals, and we are going to have a new high school principal in the near future. We are coming back to school full-time after almost 18 months, and we just suffered a devastating flood in 3 of our schools. In 2018, I ran for the Board of Education with no preconceived notions or personal agenda. My goal as a Board of Education member has been and always will be educating our children. I am an experienced board member and have built an excellent rapport with our school family. I understand our district's needs, and I'm looking forward to approving a new budget that may include new program enhancements and facility improvements. Going into next year, our school district will need an experienced and fair-minded Board of Education member. I believe I am that candidate. I thank you for your support, and I look forward to serving another 3 years on the Bridgewater-Raritan School District Board of Education. Thank you.
In my opening remarks, I left out a few important details about me, and I promise it has nothing to do with skateboarding. I was raised here in Bridgewater by a family of countertop builders and cabinet installers. Since I was very young, my parents expected me to learn the business, and I didn't start in the main office. I was out on the factory floor, sweeping sawdust, loading plywood onto conveyor belts, cleaning glue off of Formica, and stapling boxes. All throughout high school, I worked minimum wage jobs right here in Bridgewater. When I graduated, I worked as a temp in Bedminster. I was hired as a full-time administrative assistant, and then I continued my path into the corporate world. I've mastered skills in graphic design, proposal writing, online training curriculum, procurement, negotiations, and sales and marketing. I have worked in accounting and finance, risk management consulting, telecommunications, and across all agencies of New York City government via the Office of Payroll Administration. My professional background has been centered around one of the most fundamental skills that a school board member can have: communication. The ability to listen, collaborate, correspond, speak, and represent the interests of the residents of Bridgewater, their children, and all of the important hardworking people that make Bridgewater-Raritan Regional School District one of the most desirable school systems in the state. Thank you to the students of BRTV, you're so cool, Mr. Chris Black, Mr. Scott Linzer, for making this event possible, and also the CSA, Paula and Corinna. An enormous thank you to my family who have endured countless hours of conversations about school governance and still root for me. And thank you to fellow candidates. And thank you, residents of Bridgewater-Raritan, for listening. Again, when you walk in to cast your vote, ask yourself, what do you want the future to look like? Whose priorities are focused on the hearts and minds of your children? Whose commitment and legacy represent the best interests of Bridgewater-Raritan? And who do you think best represents you in this election? I hope I've shown you tonight why I'm running, what I hope to achieve, and why I'm asking for your vote. Thank you.
First and foremost, board members need to be advocates for the students in our district. I believe we should give students, especially middle and high school students, more ways to be heard. We should create processes and channels for more direct feedback from students, such as surveys, confidential means of communication, and small group student feedback sessions. I've been actively involved in our schools, including serving for multiple years as a class parent and as a parent advisor to the Math Olympiad team at Hamilton School. And I also facilitated the club's transition to Hillside School to ensure that it continued. I've also served on 4 separate district committees: curriculum and instruction, transportation, health and wellness, and the AI Standing Committee. I've participated in strategic planning sessions facilitated by our former superintendent and was part of the initial search committee for the middle school principal, which involved interviewing and providing feedback on the final candidates. Through my participation and experience on numerous committees over the past 10 years, I've had the opportunity and the privilege to meet and work alongside many administrators, including 3 superintendents, supervisors, teachers, staff members, and board members. I believe this experience will enable me to hit the ground running and make a positive contribution to the board. I'd like to continue to be of service to our school community, and I believe that I can bring a balanced perspective to the table, given my broad district involvement and diverse professional background. I thank you for this opportunity, and I would just like to say that if elected, I pledge to work collaboratively with my fellow board members, the administration, teachers and staff, parents, and all community stakeholders to ensure that our school district provides the best and most equitable education possible to all our students.
In closing, I'd like to thank the students of the BRTV, Paula and Karina from the CSA, and Mr. Linzer and Mr. Black for coaching these students to put on a great program tonight, so thank you. I bring a unique style to a candidate and what would be a board member. My law enforcement career has helped me in many ways to deal with community issues and student issues. I was a trained crisis negotiator, and I was taught how to de-escalate situations better than anybody around. I stay in touch with the current trends that are going on in the law enforcement field today that impact upon our students. I'm also a substitute teacher, and I get to talk to the teachers and find out what their feelings are, what their needs are, so I can kind of represent that for them. I'm invested in this community, and I'm invested in the pride of this community. I took upon myself to be the lead voice in getting our varsity baseball field fixed after 10 of the seniors this year raised the money to fix that field, and when it was their turn to play on it, played on garbage, played on a cow pasture, and then after it was fixed, after they left the school, for again another $45,000. I say this to you: if you want the status quo, do not vote for me. If you want somebody that's going to fight for the community pride, for your children, for better teachers and better administrators, then vote for me. Richard Dick Myers, column 6. Thank you very much, and I enjoyed tonight very much. Great job, kids.
So I echo the words of the fellow candidates, so just thank you guys for the kids that are here, the children of the district. We know that this is above and beyond what you do on a normal school day, so thanks very much. Dick, I actually grew up playing in actual cow pastures in India, and our baseball field is not anything close to it. It might need a little work, I agree, but definitely not a cow pasture. So, a little bit about me, and I didn't mention that in my introduction. I am a working mom. My husband is a working dad. We have 2 children. I've been in financial services for 23 years, and I have credentials just like everyone else here. Everybody brings a different perspective to the table, and I'm sure that everyone brings a different school of thought. What I will say is that it's really the perspective and the passion that we have for the role, which is why we're all here. I mean, for those of you who don't know, this is a volunteer position. Every single person, in addition to their lives and their day jobs, is actually raising their hand and saying, we want to do this. And I think everybody needs to be commended for that. The one thing I can say about myself is that I have an unfaltering work ethic. For anybody who knows me, you know that I will work my ass off in any which way possible to do the right thing for not only our children, but our community and our village. I have conviction, and as you've learned from speaking with all of us tonight, I am always true to myself and very authentic, and I think I can bring that to the school board. Here's what I will say. You know, we all draw straws. Everybody's name got picked out of a hat, and mine was column 7. I am the last name on the ballot. And so, for those of you who are still waiting to vote, it's here to decide, column 7, and no matter who you choose, you will make the decision that is best for you. Thanks, everyone.
We'd like to thank all of the candidates for being here with us tonight and for giving our audience an insight into their positions on the issues involving education here in Bridgewater-Raritan. On behalf of the Council of Schools Association, we would like to encourage everyone to vote in the school board election during the general elections on Tuesday, November 2nd. Please make every effort to get out and vote. Again, thank you to all of the candidates for sharing your evening with us, and thank you to all watching this presentation. For the Council of Schools Association and BRTV, I'm Kelly Hsu.
And I'm Kate Delmonico. Good night.